Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Certain situations, in order to analyze them and reach a conclusion, you don't really need to be a sophisticated person, because sometimes being too sophisticated makes you lose the goal, the target, and you get lost in things that are not necessary actually, and they would shadow or infringe your ability to see clearly the situation, which is right it's in front of you. So in this case we have Lukashenko, who is the president of Belarus. I don't think he's sophisticated by any means, but I think he's got an instinctual how should I say, basic way of looking at things. And in Romania, where I'm from, we call it a peasant wisdom. Peasant wisdom is like a solid, basic knowledge of life. You know, this is good, this is bad, there's like that, and there's like that. No sophistication, no too much philosophy involved, you know. So I think Lukashenko is one of those people who I don't think he's very read in any you know, very, I don't know, as I said, sophisticated in his knowledge, but he has this ability to look at the problem itself without all the philosophy surrounding it that sometimes leads you astray. So this article comes from Republic World, and it is about Lukashenko, obviously, and this is the title. Ukraine conflict can be solved within 1 week if US and UK want, asserts Lukashenko. So I think that he's got the how should I put it, the teams right. And this team is United States with Great Britain, the main actors. You got the people who are basically fucked. Those are the Ukrainian nation. They have in control this little clique of Zelensky, Zhmyhal, Reznikov, and Yermak, and Podolyak, and all those. And then on the other side is Russia. The prize here is Russia. That's what it is. All this thing is about Russia. And these guys want Russia down. And they got Russia here tangled in Ukraine. These guys don't give up about this, don't give up about those. Those need to go. And if these are going to be a nation or not, or if there's going to be a Ukraine country or not, these guys don't give a damn if there's just steppe, nothing, savannah over there. All right, so let's see what this guy is saying. Alexander Lukashenko, who is a close ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, said that a solution to the Ukrainian conflict can be found within a week. You know, Lukashenko, I'm pretty sure you will not like the consequences of that solution. I will tell you in a minute what they will be. So he says here that it could be found within a week, adding that it depends on the US and the UK. And I'm quoting, "It all depends on the US and the UK. If tomorrow you realize that we need to sit down at the negotiation table, we need to sit down at the negotiation table and find a solution. Believe me, we will find a solution within a week," end quote. Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko said, as per reports from Russian state news agency TASS. Belarus is one of the 4 countries which opposed the United Nations General Assembly's resolution condemning Russian annexation of 4 Ukrainian regions. Well, Lukashenko also recently added that Belarus faces threats from Ukraine and West amid the ongoing war in Eastern Europe, to counter which he is sending his nation troops near the Belarusian blah blah blah. Okay, well, what he's got right is this. I think he's definitely got it right that if United States gives the order to the UK and tells the people in charge of the Ukrainian nation, time out, go home, that will happen probably overnight, unless you might have a few Ukrainian patriot generals that would not listen, but they would be forced to listen when they're gonna face extermination straight, the threats, and then they will be taken out. I'm 100% certain that that would be the method, and probably they know it too, and they depend 100% on the Americans, so they know better. And if they decide that, that's gonna happen. This is the problem. If the Russians and the Americans sit at the table, and I'm ignoring everybody else, who else might be involved, doesn't matter, okay? If they sit at the table and they discuss, Lukashenko will go away if in a week would be peace and all that, I don't think Lukashenko's chair will be very solid. I don't think so. So I don't know if he really wants that to happen, because he's gonna be just taken out and thrown into the burner or something, because that's what's gonna be with this guy. He's gonna be part of, he's got to go. That's gonna be one of the requirement for the peace treaty. I'm 100%. But don't worry, the peace will not be signed unless Russia will sign an unconditional surrender. Nothing short of that. The West doesn't want anything short of that. And it's not going to be like, okay, we're going to surrender and we're going to leave Putin in power. No, that's not going to happen. So that's why I don't know how these guys think, oh, we're going to win the war. What do you mean by winning the war? And again, negotiations. The negotiations could not happen unless they agree with Russia's 4 terms that they, mentioned at the beginning of the operation, and before. That's, legal bounding declarations signed by all parties that Ukraine will be neutral, demilitarized, neutral country, buffer zone, never a NATO country, in writing, even though that doesn't really matter. I mean, really, again, Russians are, I think they do it just for the PR, for other people to see. These guys don't give a fuck about that. I mean, look at, for instance, Donald Trump. He came to power and said, you know what, out of the Paris Accords right now, out of the Iranian deal right now, out of the Ukrainian deal right now, let's say the next guy is going to say, out of that. So what are you going to do? Nothing. We're going to punch you in the face right now. Okay, so all these things, we got a legal document signed, Russia. Really? To do what? When they will cross the line, you're going to show those documents like Chamberlain showed when he came from Germany on the airport. Peace for whatever he said was signed and ensured for generations or something for our continent, whatever he said. If you remember Chamberlain with his famous little paper signed by Adolf and the other guys. And Adolf was like, oh my God, look at that guy. The same here. The Russians are going to come and show, hey, you signed here. And the missile on his head. That's how world is operated, not with peace treaty. You got this? You impose. You don't listen, I smack you. I was about to say things. But if you want to know what I was about to say, just read what happened with guys from Nuremberg trials. They didn't have enough just to be hanged, trialed as they were, hanged, and then what happened with their bodies, burned, and then what happened with the ashes. So that's how certain groups treat other groups. Anyway, the victors, right? And they always tell us a story of the victor. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.